Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. So, Monday, here we are, the first day of the work week here. Hope everybody managed to start their day off on the right foot today at work. Well, today it was cold out today, but not too cold. But at least it was sunny out. But I think Thursday we're supposed to get almost into the low 70s, believe it or not, here, and so we have a warm front coming our way. Well, Trump had a rally, I guess, at Madison Square Garden that a lot of people were kind of really ticked off about that happened. And I think this article here, amongst a lot of articles that I've read about it, kind of sums it up better, I think. So I'm going to read this to you. It's from The Guardian, written by Adam Gabbett and Ed Pilkington. And it was published yesterday. Yes, it was published yesterday. So, it's entitled, Trump Fills Madison Square Garden with Anger, Vitriol, and Racist Threats. What else, right? What do you expect from a friggin' pig but a grunt? Okay. Anger and vitriol took center stage at New York's Madison Square Garden on Sunday night as Donald Trump and a cabal of campaign surrogates held a rally marked by racist comments, coarse insults, and dangerous threats about immigrants. 9 days out from the election, just 9 now, Trump used the rally in New York to repeat his claim that he is fighting, quote, the enemy within, unquote, that same old bullshit that he's been using here the last couple weeks, and again promised to launch, quote, the largest deportation program in American history, unquote, amid incoherent ramblings about ending a phone call with a, quote, very, very important person, unquote, so he could watch one of Elon Musk's rockets land. The event at Madison Square Garden in the center of Manhattan had drawn comparisons to an infamous Nazi rally held at the arena back in 1939. Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate, said there was a, quote, unquote, direct parallel between the two events, and the Democratic National Committee projected images on the outside of the building on Sunday repeating claims from Trump's former chief of staff that Trump had, quote, praised Hitler, unquote. There was certainly a dark tone throughout the hours-long rally, with one speaker describing Puerto Rico, home to 3.2 million U.S. citizens, as a, quote, island of garbage, unquote. Tucker Carlson mocking Harris's racial identity, a radio host describing Hillary Clinton as a, quote, sick bastard, unquote, and a crucifix wielding childhood friend of Trump's declaring that Harris is, quote, the Antichrist, unquote. The Puerto Rico comments made by Tony Hinchcliffe, a podcaster with a history of racist remarks, were immediately criticized by the Harris-Walz campaign. Ricky Martin, the Puerto Rican pop star who has more than 18 million followers on Instagram, wrote in a post, quote, "This is what they think of us, vote for Kamala Harris, unquote. Trump campaign spokesperson Danielle Alvarez in a statement said, quote, "This joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign." But that could prove problematic in Pennsylvania, where the majority of the swing state's 580,000 eligible Latino voters are of Puerto Rican descent. Both campaigns have been trying to appeal to Latino voters in the final weeks of the campaign, and Harris had visited a Puerto Rican restaurant in Philadelphia earlier on Sunday, where she outlined plans to introduce a quote, economic opportunity task force, unquote, for Puerto Rico. The pugnacious mood didn't change once Trump began speaking, as the former president quickly repeated his pledge to, quote, launch the largest deportation program in American history, unquote. Trump continued his frequent rants about immigration and claimed that a, quote, savage Venezuelan prison gang, unquote, had, quote, taken over Times Square, unquote, which will come as a surprise to anyone who has recently visited the New York landmark. The former president also stated wrongly that the Biden administration did not have money to respond to a recent hurricane in North Carolina because, quote, they spent all their money bringing in illegal immigrants, flying them in by beautiful jet planes, unquote. Boy, the lies just keep on coming, right? Trump's usual dystopian threats were on offer as the 78-year-old expanded on his claims about, quote, the enemy within, unquote, a group of political opponents that he has said he will set the military on if elected. Quote, we're just not running against Kamala. I think a lot of our politicians here tonight know this. She means nothing. She's purely a vessel. That's all she is, unquote, Trump said. Funny, that's how I think about Trump. Okay? He's not really the guy that's going to be, running all this shit if he gets elected, okay? Quote, we're running against something far bigger than Joe or Kamala and far more powerful than them, which is a massive, vicious, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. They're just vessels. Again, that's something that MAGA is in our definition, okay? They're the big machine that's running against this country, all right? You see how they project? They project everything that's going on with them onto Democrats, okay? It's all about projection. Trump's appearance at Madison Square Garden, home to the New York Knicks and Rangers, and venue for countless legendary acts, including Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and John Lennon's last concert appearance before his murder, marks the culmination of his peculiar love-hate flirtation with his native city. Despite the fact that he has no chance of winning New York State, Harris is 15 points ahead in the 538 tracker poll. This was his third rally here this year. In May, he made an audacious attempt to woo black and Latino voters in the South Bronx, just a few miles from his childhood home in Queens. Then in September, he pitched up in the New York City suburbs and Long Island. What Trump intends by staging this trilogy of seemingly pointless electoral appearances is unclear. He has used his rambling speeches to take a nostalgic walk down memory lane to what he sees as the golden days of his life as a New York real estate magnate. But he has also portrayed New York City in the most dark and dystopian terms as a rat-infested haven for drug addicts, gangs, and quote-unquote illegal aliens, housed in luxury apartments while military veterans shiver on the sidewalks. Like he gives a shit about the military veterans too, right? His toxic language is perhaps a reflection of his bitterness towards the city of his birth, which in separate court cases has convicted him of 34 felonies, found his company, the Trump Organization, guilty of criminal tax fraud, and found him personally liable for sexual abuse. On Sunday, Trump again criticized his hometown, claiming that the Biden administration had forced hundreds of thousands of really rough people into the city and telling New Yorkers, despite police saying crime has declined, quote, your crime is through the roof, everything is through the roof, unquote. Yeah, okay, it's just all through the roof. Yeah, he's got no proof of that, but he's just going to say it. And when he says it, that's all people need to hear, right? The pugnacious tone had been set earlier in the afternoon when several of the opening speakers made obscenity-laced and hate-filled remarks. Hinchcliffe's comments about Puerto Rico, he also made lewd sexual innuendos about Latina women, were met with big laughs from the crowd. A comment from radio personality Sid Rosenberg that Hillary Clinton is a sick bastard was similarly well received, as was Rosenberg's claim that the, quote, fucking illegals get everything they want, unquote. David Rem, a Republican politician who the Trump campaign described as a childhood friend of the former president, called Harris, quote, the devil, unquote, and, quote, the Antichrist, unquote, to loud cheers. Rem later took a crucifix out of his pocket and announced that he was running for New York City mayor. As soon as Trump announced his intentions to stage a rally at Madison Square Garden just days before the election, critics leapt to point out historical parallels with one of the most notorious events in New York history. On 20 February 1939, just 7 months before Germany invaded Poland, the pro-Hitler German-American Bund held a massive Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden. The organizers chose George Washington's birthday as the date to parade their vision of an Aryan Christian country dedicated to white supremacy and American patriotism. They erected a giant portrait of Washington, which they flanked with swastika flags alongside the stars and stripes. More than 20,000 American Nazi sympathizers attended, many dressed in stormtrooper uniforms and giving the Sieg Heil salute. The, quote, Führer, unquote, of the American Bund, Fritz Kuhn, told the crowd that America would be, quote, returned to the people who founded it, unquote, and described the, quote, Jewish-controlled press, unquote. Hillary Clinton had noted the similarities between the two events in an interview with CNN last week, and at a rally in Nevada earlier on Sunday, Walz was happy to continue the comparison. Quote, Donald Trump's got this big rally going on at Madison Square Garden, unquote, Walz said. Quote, there's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden, and don't think that he doesn't know for 1 second exactly what they're doing there, unquote. The Trump campaign reacted furiously to the accusations, describing Clinton's comment as, quote, unquote, disgusting. One of the few people to reference the 1939 rally on Sunday was Hulk Hogan, who emerged to wrestling music, spent several seconds struggling to rip off his shirt, and then claimed, quote, I don't see no stinking Nazis in here, unquote. After a night of fire and fury, it will be up to the American voters to decide. This article was changed on October the 28th because an earlier version said that the Donald Trump rally was held in the exact same arena as the 39 pro-Hitler German-American Bund Nazi rally. Although the venues of the two rallies share the same name, the 39 rally was in a different location. The current area opened in '68 and is the fourth to be named Madison Square Garden, replacing the third, which opened in 1925. Okay. So it was a real shit show, and the only people who would have turned out to listen or to go to that mess would have been the core MAGA nuts. Nothing said at that rally, okay, had anything to do about making this country better, okay? It was all about insults, grievances. That's all it was for. It was just a party about anger. That's all it is. All it was, rather. And here's the thing. It ain't no different than any of the other fucking rallies you ever had. Okay? This is like the last big firework before the fireworks are over. Okay? All the anger, all in one big fucking explosion at the end, basically. All right, so what we saw, excuse me here, what we saw at the DNC during their convention was the culmination of hope. you know, hope for this country, hope for the future, hope for progress, hope that we can defend our democracy. What you see here in Madison Square Garden was the counter to that, because remember, they had their rally, their convention before the Democrats did, but they got so pissed about the Democrat convention, they just couldn't wait to get to this fucking rally here in Madison Square Garden. So this was their big, you know, fuck you to the Democrats, basically, because we've been hammering them about their hate and everything, and they say, well, fine, you don't like our hate, then we're going to throw as much fucking hate out there as we can. We're really going to get under your skin. And that's exactly what this was all about, was a comeback and a fuck you to the Democrats. This doesn't win votes, people. This kind of shit does not win votes. Who are they talking to here? You know, who the fuck are they aiming this rally to? It's for themselves. Okay, it's a big giant circle jerk is all it is. Okay, people kissing each other's asses at this convention. It ain't reaching out to people who are undecided. It ain't reaching out to the different layers of this country. Okay, it ain't reaching out to anybody outside of their own little MAGA cult. All it is an implosion inside their cult. Okay, for all the world to see. You know, and whether you like it or not, that's what this was all about. It got no fucking respect from anybody outside of the little world that they created here that night. No respect. People, all that came out of there was a bunch of hate and racist shit and misogyny, and you name it, it was there in full, you know, frontal nudity. Okay? And that right there, people, you should remember. If you pull the goddamn lever for Donald Trump, November, okay, just remember, you're pulling the lever of these motherfuckers right here who have said nothing good about this country since they started their campaign. Nothing. They don't believe in America. They hate America. Okay? Why? Because Trump hates America. He hates it because, you know, he had to do his battles with this country or the justice system in America, you know, for years. Because he was always trying to get away with something. All right? And, you know, he hates this country because he can't stay on the right side of the law. All right? And that's not a good reason to want to tear apart this country, because you can't obey the law. All right? I mean, if we you know, if we let people like that run, you know, America in whichever office you put them in, what do you think these people are going to do when they get in there? They're going to lift all the restrictions, all the laws that make this country civil, okay? And they're going to turn us into a fucking country of barbarians, anarchists, okay? That's what they're going to do. And who you think will be the first ones to bitch about that when that happens, okay? You know who. And so the thing is that, you know, this fucking rally really is the highlight of the entire Trump campaign. This is what they were about the whole time he's been trying to run to get back into office. This is it. You don't need to watch any of the other rallies that, you know, because they were, you know, he'd have bored you to sleep anyway. So skip all the other rallies he ever was in, okay? And forget their RNC convention, because that was another shit show. And just look at this one. They let everything out. They unzipped their pants. They whipped out their dicks. They did everything here at this fucking rally right here at Madison Square Garden. Okay? This is what they did. This is everything about MAGA right here. You watch that and you're going to see everything that's wrong with these people on full display. Everything. That's what they did. This was their big conclusion just before the election. This was it, the big final chapter, okay? Well, I'll tell you right now, it is a final chapter, because this is the death cry of a group of people who have twice tried to undercut this country. And I ain't talking about just Donald Trump, but, you know, when they were the teabagger movement, they were trying to do it then too. But twice they've tried to undercut this country for their own selfish reasons. Not for, you know, the American dream or whatever the hell lofty thing the Democrats talk about when they're trying to run for office. No, these people were in it for themselves from the very beginning, and it hasn't changed in all this time since McCain tried to run for president and lost against Obama. It's been like that ever since, even before Trump. And they're going to fail again come November, okay? They're going to fail again. They're going to fight like hell to try and use the courts to get Trump into the office, okay? They're going to go crying to the courts, like little babies, because they can't stand it when they lose, even though all the evidence will show, okay, that there's no fucking way Trump was ever going to win this fucking thing. Not the way he was running his campaign, okay? He's an example of what not to do if you're running for president, okay? He skipped all those rules. He didn't bother to read or even attempt to try to work within the, color within the lines. No, this guy, he didn't want to color within the lines. He wanted to do everything his fucking way. You might think that's a positive, but I'll tell you right now, in life, that doesn't always work, okay? If you want something, okay, you got to play it by the rules. You think people who make it to the top always never play by the rules? Of course not. Sometimes they break the rules, sometimes a little bit, but always they get back into the lines. Trump never does, okay? The minute he started his campaign for president, he was already thinking outside the box. How am I going to do this without actually depending on the system to get me in there? That's what he was doing, okay? And that's what he's been doing all this time. He ain't going to depend on the election system or electoral college to get him in there. He knows he can't win that. He's not that popular. His people are not that enlightened. They're not that smart. His campaign is not that good. So the only way he's going to win this, or at least try to get himself back in the White House, is to find another way, another avenue around the whole concept of having elections in this country. That's the only way he's going to be able to win this. That's why he's been buying this guy off, buying that guy off, getting help from Elon Musk and his big money, and he's money. These are all things of leverage to get people to come to turn and look at him in his direction. All right, that's why he's got 3 people on the Supreme Court, okay, and other Republicans on the Supreme Court that are going to be on standby, because all these court challenges here to counts are all going to end up right there at the front door of that goddamn court. All right, he's going to try and do what they did back in 2000. Get the Supreme Court to do the same thing again, which back then the Supreme Court said should never be done again. Okay, they went ahead and ruled on George Bush's side in that election. Okay. Because there was concern that, the country would devolve into a riot. So what if it did? Okay, the fact is that it was wrong. The courts had no business deciding who the president should have been back then. It should never have ended that way. It should have ended in a civil war if that's what it took, in order to get things done right. Because Florida fucked it up, all right? And at the very least, what they should have done was say, Florida's votes cannot be counted, and we're just going to not let that state decide. Because the Republicans meddled in that so goddamn much, no vote could be trusted there. All right. So what I think is that they simply, they should have went and fought this all the way to the bitter end back then. And I'm hoping that they won't let that happen now. Okay, because the person we put into the White House this time is either good or evil, and we don't want evil in the fucking White House. We thought Bush was evil. Well, he ain't anything like Trump. Even he won't endorse Trump, okay? But the fact is that this guy, Trump, is no fucking person you want to play footsie with, okay? He will turn this country inside out. So at the very least, if the courts decide the end of this fucking election, I'm telling you right now, if that doesn't start civil war in this country, I don't know what the hell will. I really don't, because it's going to take a movement en masse to force him out of the White House, okay, and everybody else associated with him, because we cannot allow, this country to fall into his hands. We can't. We just can't let that happen. There's moments in time when we look back at how one person changed everything, okay, for good or for bad in history. A lot of people in history did things that affected and ripples throughout time, things that occurred after that. Trump is one of those fucking things, believe it or not. And I hate to put him up on that kind of a level of importance. But think of it. It isn't just him we got to worry about. It's the fucking lunatics that follow him. Okay? They are the wave that he's holding back right now. You take him out of the picture, okay, that wave isn't really going to know what to do. Okay? They'll have a fit. They'll, get in whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you take him out of the picture, and the wave will just be this chaotic thing that will be put under control, so that way we can have a civil passing of the torch from Biden to Kamala. All right. Without without that civility, we cannot expect that Trump is going to just say or concede, like they expected Al Gore to concede the way he did, okay? You're just not going to get that from him, okay? So he's the guy that basically can bring about the chaos that will come from him losing, this election. And that's why everybody has to be ready for that. And plus, like I said, you put him in the White House, and not only is there going to be, a degradation of what's left of democracy in America, but you're going to get, this green light, if you will, of dictator type orders being issued under executive powers, which his Supreme Court says, well, if it's considered to be, what do they call it, an executive order, whatever that, that it's, if he deems it as a presidential action, then it's okay. He can do it. If he wants to go and screw your wife and he says, well, I had to do it because I was president, then they'll say, okay, fine. The Supreme Court's already greenlit, a president to be able to do anything he wants as long as he deems it as, an official act. Okay? So, you can bet your ass Trump will take advantage of that if he gets in there. So everything that he does that would never have been considered an official act will suddenly become one under him. Even if it means raiding your house, taking your kids, or something like that, if he does anything like that, it's all an official act. And the Supreme Court won't challenge it because they're in his back pocket, okay, right? So, you see, that's where we're headed if he wins this fucking thing. That's why we can't let him win it. We can't. We have to be as formidable as a steel wall here to keep him out of the fucking White House, okay? We have to be that united against this tyranny that's on its way in there. Without that steel wall, my friends, America's done for. You might as well pack up your shit and get the hell out of America while you still can, okay, if he wins this thing. Don't wait until Inauguration Day. Get your shit and get the hell out of this country. Do not wait. I'm telling you. Because if he wins, that's it. It's so much harder to fix things than it is to tear it down. And he's going to do a very quick and thorough job tearing the rest of this country apart. And it's going to take so many generations to put it back together. You don't know. You just don't know. You just don't fucking know how long that's going to be. It took so long just to make America, what it became. But, to rip it all apart, I mean, that can be done overnight. Christ, it even works quicker than just nuking Washington, D.C., okay? But when he hands everything over to oligarchs and whoever else, I mean, that's it. So we really have to make sure that people take note of this rally and listen hard to what's being said there, because these are all things that these fuckers believe in. They didn't care about insulting anybody at this rally. They went out and made all the racist jokes that you ever heard, okay? Right there at this rally, people laughed at it, okay? It's sad that this goes on still in this country, but here it is. We always knew it was there, Now the closet doors are open, and the people are standing right there in front of you now for what they are. They're not wearing the sheets anymore. Here they are. All right, so let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Welcome to the Trump 2024 convention, brought to you by Project 2025. This week in the horrible city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll see the best of the Trump Project 2025 party. It's a bold vision for a bright future. With Trump Project 2025, you'll love how new tariffs will make everything more expensive and set off runaway inflation. We know you'll appreciate paying for the big tax cut our struggling billionaires need. When you seniors are done freeloading, check out Project 2025's plan to end Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So get out of that nursing home bed and get back to work. And ladies, this convention has so much in store for you. With Project 2025, you'll learn how good you'll have it in the kitchen. Girls, if your marriage isn't working out, you'll need Project 2025's helpful tips to keep the romance alive, even if he's abusive, because we're getting rid of divorce. And if Mr. Wrong gets you pregnant, welcome to motherhood, because we've ended Roe v. Wade and we're going to criminalize birth control. And minorities, well, you didn't need those silly voting rights anyway. For you Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other fake religions, you'll get a head start on learning America is a Christian nation. Project 2025 is Donald Trump's plan for your future, and it couldn't be any brighter.
Project 2025 Bright Future Guarantee applies to white evangelical Christian men only. Other conditions may apply. Offer not valid in a functioning republic.
Driver's license, registration.
Here you go, sir. How's your day going?
That's your daughter?
Sure is.
Abigail, right?
How do you know her?
Were you about 8 weeks pregnant? See, you've been spotting recently. You've had any cramps or nausea?
That's personal.
You been taking your prenatal vitamins?
Excuse me?
Are you ticketing me for something?
Where are you heading, Abigail?
To go see my older sister, Natalie.
Well, that's strange. This says here that Natalie's at a concert in Dallas, and your navigation is set to a women's health clinic in one of those abortion states.
We have the right to travel.
Not anymore. Step out of the car.
Please, officer.
Both of you out now. You, sir, are under arrest for crossing state lines to obtain an abortion for a minor under your care. And you, young lady, well, you're under arrest for evading motherhood.
Finally, a president who stands up for growth, opportunity, and prosperity for every American. Kamala Harris will fight for American jobs, lower costs, and give families a head start in a tough world.
We will create what I call an opportunity economy where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed.
Her plan will make it easier for people to start a family, raise kids, and buy a first home. It's a real start to a new economy where hard work and entrepreneurship pays off for everyone. Donald Trump's plan? Another budget-busting trillion-dollar tax cut for billionaires like Elon Musk. A Trump tariff tax that screws American families. Higher prices for everything. Kamala Harris, an economic plan that puts Americans first.
The enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country, that's a bigger enemy than China and Russia. They have to go back to where they came from. I'm sorry.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. So, I got a video here I want to play for you for the second part, and it's got some interesting points to bring up. So, let's go to the video, and we'll close out the show with that.
Other than the incoherent gibberish that Donald Trump spews at his traveling fascist circus events that he calls rallies, and other than the hate where he calls for things like the reinstatement of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, one of the things he just talks about over and over again, really the only other thing, is he says that he was shot in the ear and took a bullet for the country, but he's never produced medical record showing that his ear was actually shot. We know there was a serious incident at Butler, Pennsylvania, and we take that very seriously here at the Midas Touch Network. We condemn political violence in all of its forms and machinations. We also believe that if you're running for the highest office in the land like Donald Trump is, you should release your medical records to the public, especially if you're claiming that an AR-15 bullet hit your ear, but you are a magical healer, so all of a sudden, like a miracle, it went away. Especially where you're Donald Trump and the MAGA movement and you want to take away women's reproductive rights and also get access to their medical records and seize it so that you could cause grievous harm to women. I think you should maybe release your medical records. There was an incident, though, in the past few days. I'm sure you heard about Donald Trump's interview with Joe Rogan, but there's a point in that interview that's worth reflecting on in detail for its broader implications. You may have seen these memes right here, where during the interview, Joe Rogan asked Donald Trump to look at where the bullet hit his ear. Now, Joe Rogan's familiar with UFC. He's familiar with ear injuries. So he's seen a lot when it comes to ear injuries. Here are some of the memes right here. Trump shows Rogan his massive ear wound. Or here's another one. Miracle ear cream only $999.99. Here's another meme. This is Joe Rogan realizing, well, that's a meme right there. I don't think... My own view was that it was a serious incident that needs to be taken very seriously. But then Donald Trump turned it into a way to like profit off of it. And he started selling Assassination Edition sneakers, Assassination Edition Pinot Noir, Assassination Edition coins. And he turned this, serious matter into a ghoulish monetization stunt. So let me show you this. Here's the moment where Donald Trump and Joe Rogan are talking. And Joe Rogan says, "Can I see where you were injured? Watch what goes down." Play the clip.
I was.
He was a nice
Once
guy.
they shot you, I was like, he's got to come in here. It's all about timing.
It's all about the timing.
Timing's
I think
good.
our timing's perfect. Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
What do we say? What do you got
So, right over here.
there? Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
it zicked right there.
Yeah. It healed up pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little.
And then further in the interview as well, Joe Rogan asked Donald Trump a very basic question. What was it like being in the Oval Office the first day? Pretty simple question, but you'll see Donald Trump responds by talking about the amount of blood that came out of his ear. Trump says this is the weave, where he can't put forward coherent thoughts. So he just says a bunch of things all at the same time. Watch what Donald Trump does here and watch how Joe Rogan's like, what are you even talking about? Here, play this clip.
When you're running for president, you don't really know what it's going to be like when you actually get into office. What did you think it was going to be
in
like?
office or when I decided to run? So
No, when you got in.
When I was in. So when I was in and won and was in the White House, essentially.
Yes.
Well, first of all, it was very surreal.
I would imagine.
It's very interesting. When I got shot, it wasn't surreal. That should have been surreal. When I was laying on the ground, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly where I was hit. They were saying you were hit all over the place because there was so much blood from the ear. You would know that better than anyone. When they get the ear torn up,
Ears bleed a lot,
they bleed. Anyway, so and I was thinking the other day, when that happened, I really knew where I was. I knew exactly what happened. I said I wasn't hit anywhere else. With the presidency, it was a very surreal experience. Okay,
Like, what's day one like? You win.
Yeah,
You get inaugurated. Holy shit, I'm the president.
So I think this is a more fundamental point that needs to be addressed. And we've done lots of videos about Donald Trump, and I take this seriously because it should be a serious issue. And I didn't present it in a mocking way. We've seen speeches now where Donald Trump appears to have defecated on himself on stage or relieving himself on stage. We see that Donald Trump can't put forward coherent sentences and thoughts. He presents with dementia-like symptoms, really serious dementia-like symptoms, Alzheimer's-like symptoms. You can see it. You know, there are times where he's giving a speech and he asks to listen to music and he just bobs his head for 40 minutes while people in the audience are suffering because there's no air conditioning and they're screaming, medic, medic, medic. So we should reflect on all of this. Like when Donald Trump goes on stage, let's talk about what he's been saying about his ear and the Butler, Pennsylvania incident. So a month or two ago, he was asked about it, and he said it hit him in the lobe, but he's a fast healer, and it miraculously healed. Here, clip.
Yeah, pretty much recovered. Yeah, I'm a fast healer. It's a hell of a shot, but I'm a fast healer. Yeah, pretty much recovered.
Do you have any hearing damage from?
No, it didn't hit that. I got very lucky. It just hit the lobe, as they call it.
Is there a scar on your ear?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. On top. A little.
But how is he weaponizing this? How is he using this? Well, now what he and all of the MAGA Republicans say is they pretend that the shooter was somehow liberals or Democrats and that they went after him. We know the shooter is a white male, 20s, lived in Pennsylvania, MAGA supporter, MAGA signs. People in high school said that he was a MAGA guy. That was the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. There was a second incident where there was no shooting that actually took place. The Secret Service got to this guy before. Trump wasn't even in the guy's line of sight at a Florida golf course. That the Secret Service previously told Donald Trump, you can't play at this course. You're making yourself a target, so don't play at the course. But there we learned that guy was a Trump voter in 2016 and recently was a supporter of people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Tulsi Gabbard and people like that. But now they go around at that weird Madison Square Garden Nazi-like event and they say, and this is what J.D. Vance says, all the speakers said the same thing. They tried to kill him. They even tried to. Who's the they in this? The they. It makes you think. Here's J.D. Vance saying it.
Tried to bankrupt him. When that didn't work, they tried to impeach him. When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison, and when that didn't work, they even tried to kill him. But as sure as the American flag still waves, Donald Trump still stands, ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to make America great again. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Let's do it.
Now, here's Rudy Giuliani saying it. Play the clip.
Now, I don't know. I'm not going to do conspiracy, and I'm not going to do conspiracy. But it's kind of funny that they tried everything else, and now they're trying to kill him. They better not. Try again.
Here's Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, saying it. Play the clip.
In 9 days, it's your turn to cast a vote for the man who's been in the trenches with you, the man who gets back up every time they try and knock him down. They thought they could break us. They thought they could scare us. They thought they could jail us, and they thought they could kill him. But they don't know. What doesn't break you makes you stronger.
Let's talk about the industry, the business that Donald Trump has made to profit off of these purported assassination attempts, or the assassination attempts where he's clearly exaggerating the injury. I think that's undisputed. If you're hit with a AR-15 bullet in your ear explodes. Okay, it's a big bullet. Well, the ear would fall off if you were hit with an AR-15 bullet. You wouldn't just miraculously heal. And Donald Trump doesn't know what a lobe is. Let's be clear. But here's what he's selling. Just so you know, oh, well, Ben, you're saying he's selling sneakers? Well, yeah, here's the assassination edition sneakers that he's actually selling. This is at trumpsneakers.com. He's selling these for $299. There's other versions of this for $500. Assassination edition sneakers. Here's the assassination edition Pinot Noir, assassination edition bulletproof .308 caliber whiskey glass mugs or shot glasses. They're coins that he's selling, different types of coins, the assassination edition coins. But remember, even in 2015, when Donald Trump purported to release medical records, he released them from, of all types of doctors, a gastroenterologist by the name of Harold Bornstein, a gastro doctor that would deal with issues like Trump defecating on himself and relieving himself. But what it says is, I can unequivocally state that Donald Trump will be the healthiest person ever elected to the presidency, which we know is a ridiculous thing for anybody to say. Harold Bornstein later said that he actually didn't write the doctor's note, that Donald Trump wrote the note for him and signed Harold Bornstein, and Bornstein let Donald Trump get along with it. Harold Bornstein's no longer alive. He passed away under somewhat mysterious circumstances in 2021, but in 2018, Harold Bornstein went on MSNBC and said that Donald Trump had sent his bodyguard, Keith Schiller, to go and seize the medical records belonging to Trump from Bornstein's office. Bornstein describes it as Trump sent his thugs into my office and they took forcibly Trump's medical records from my office. Here's Bornstein explaining it in 2018. Play the clip.
Exactly what they looking for?
All his medical records, his pictures, anything they could find. We must have been here for 25 to 30 minutes. We created a lot of chaos. I couldn't believe anybody was making a big deal about a drug that's to grow his hair, which seemed to be so important. And it certainly is not a breach of medical trust to tell somebody they take Propecia to grow their hair. What's the matter with that?
Finally, that brings me to a very important point that I want to make. I think it's important that we hear from and see from Donald Trump's own appointed FBI director, Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray was appointed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump had previously said that Christopher Wray is someone with impeccable credentials. He appointed Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray's been a Republican his entire life, okay? He's now still the FBI director. So there was a recent hearing, and Christopher Wray was asked about the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. And Christopher Wray says it's not clear that Trump was shot in the ear. Whether it was shrapnel or something else that hit his ear or something, it's not clear. Here's what Christopher Wray said.
I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear. So it's conceivable, although as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to, causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us...
Okay, so that's coming from Trump's own FBI director, a Republican. So how did Donald Trump respond to that? He reposts Tucker Carlson saying Christopher Wray is a liar and a criminal, and I hope that he is reading this. He's calling his own FBI director a liar and a criminal, and he's reposting it through Tucker Carlson to try to say, well, all I was doing was reposting Tucker Carlson. One of the other things that Donald Trump posted was a meme that basically says that Christopher Wray was in on the assassination attempt, that Christopher Wray was involved in doing it. It's one of the conspiracies Trump is spreading because he goes, when did you know and what did you know and when did you know about it? Read Truth if you want to know who was ordering the assassination attempt. And it has Christopher Wray's photo. So Trump is implicating his own former FBI director, saying that that's who was involved in the assassination attempt. I mean, just think about that. It's not unique to that, though. You then have all of Donald Trump's MAGA people in the House of Representatives, like Harriet Hageman. She's the one who took over the seat of Liz Cheney as the Republican Party went full MAGA. And she attacks Christopher Wray at all of these hearings. And again, Christopher Wray's a Republican, lifelong Republican, appointed by Trump. Watch this exchange. Let's play it.
Mr. Wray, from the Twitter files, Missouri versus Biden disclosures, the Durham investigation and report, and exposure and collapse of the Russian collusion hoax, the American people fully understand that there is a two-tiered justice system that has been weaponized to persecute people based on their political beliefs, and that you have personally worked to weaponize the FBI against conservatives. I asked Mr. Durham about this, to which he answered, I don't think that things can go too much further with the view that law enforcement, particularly the FBI or Department of Justice, runs a two-tiered system of justice. The nation can't stand under those circumstances. Director Wray, what are you prepared to do to reform federal law enforcement in a manner which earns back the trust of the American people?
Well, first off, I would disagree with your characterization of the FBI and certainly your description of my own approach. The idea that I'm biased against conservatives seems somewhat insane to me, given my own personal background. As to how we are approaching our work of protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution, it starts with me having emphasized to all of our folks over and over and over again in everything we do that we need to do the right thing in the right way, and that means following the facts wherever they lead, no matter who likes it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now one of the main leaders in the Republican Party that's been taken over by MAGA. Here's what she has to say.
Were you aware of this?
Congresswoman, as I said, I haven't seen the photos that you're holding up before.
Maybe, well, I posted them on my Twitter account. It's public. You know, maybe
I don't
you guys
spend a lot of time on Twitter.
Well, you know, oh, I'm sure you do, because the Department of Homeland Security, organized with other offices, has censored many Americans, including myself.
I'm not part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Right, Mr. Wray, you should be interested in investigating terrorism, and this.
And here is Victoria Spars, a MAGA congresswoman as well. Here's her interaction with Christopher Wray.
You started out as an AUSA, and I'm getting this information from Wikipedia, the great font of knowledge in the digital age, and so I'm assuming that it's true, but you started out as an AUSA. You were nominated by Republican President Bush for the position of Assistant Attorney General in the Criminal Division at the Department of Justice, and you were confirmed by a Republican Senate, if I am correct in that.
Yes, by unanimous voice vote.
And you were then nominated by Republican President Donald Trump to be the FBI director, and again confirmed by the Republican Senate for that position.
Yes, I think there were only 5 votes against me, and they were all from Democrats.
According to Wikipedia, you're still a registered Republican, and I hope you don't change your party affiliation after this hearing is over. But I want to thank you.
So I wanted to show you right there that this is deep-seated, that it's not just Trump. You have the entire MAGA universe right there who's pushing this. And we'll end the video right there. As you hear, my little baby girl is crying, so I got to go on daddy duty. But I include us all as the Midas Mighty family in this, so you get to hear it. So I gotta run. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
All right, everybody. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So please subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for any health-related issues. And treat each other kind out there. And hopefully we'll get to that election there soon so we can do the right thing. So take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later.